Bears, blog, boys, you know it all, computer, analytic, geeky nerds. Michael Schneider, Tom Cavanaugh, the Bear, blog, boys, know-it-alls, doing some podcast somewhere. Nobody wants to hear you. Geeks, you pencil-pushing, skinny jean-wearing geeks, you.
Coming to you live from our mom's basement, this is the Bears Blog Boys podcast. I am your co-host, Tom Cavanaugh, back with my good buddy and other co-host, Michael Snyder. Snyder, I was on vacation last week, therefore we did not record. Forgot to remind the people, but we are back here to do a little bit of schedule predictions. But since I haven't seen you in a week, buddy, how you been?
Good, brother. Really busy at work. Time's been flying by. I know you just got back from a cruise. You knocked out a couple dynasty trade bangers there on our break. Yeah, I mean, I feel like my Twitter timeline and just my constant talk in the group chats are ball and fantasy, and the action, I would say, in this past week has definitely revved up on, both of those formats. So here, I mean, the season is upon us, Tom. We are 6 Sundays away from, NFL football. Bears less than 50 days away. So the season is in arm reach, Tom, and everything just from everything you see on TV, radio, social media, and just talking with the boys. Everything is just slowly, not slowly, but right upon us.
Yeah, I mean, training camp has started. It feels, and like we already got reports, which we'll dive into a little bit before we do our, predictions, our record predictions. But I mean, the season is basically here, right? There's a Hall of Fame game in like a week, which is pretty crazy to say. It's felt like This off season has been really, really long. I think because of all the anticipation, especially for Bears fans, given how much has changed, given our expectations, and I'm glad we can kind of kick the start of training camp off with talking about our record predictions, because I think it will just give a holistic view of what we're anticipating this Bears season to be, probably deeper than we ever had at any point. Like we've talked about individual player performances, what we expect from those players, but not kind of what the Bears are going to look like as a team. And that's why I'm really, really excited to get down to it and give our record predictions. But before we get there, Snyder, why don't we talk about the first training camp, which I believe was yesterday, or maybe it was, I don't know. I've been pretty busy at work, so I haven't been able to keep up with the exact reporting of the training camp, but I did see a couple from yesterday's, and I believe it was the first day, and it sounded like the offense really, really struggled. Does that have you concerned at all that it's been so far, through one day, it's been off to a poor start?
Yeah, I guess it's kind of maybe expected. I mean, you're learning a whole entire new offense, ton of new lingo. We knew that Ben Johnson was going to be like this crazy, just mad scientist, implementing this new offense. And it's going to be complicated, right? I think that's why he brought in a Jonah Jackson, guys he's familiar with to maybe help that. I know that's just one guy, but that's, I think, why I could have kind of understood the process behind that. But, yeah, I mean, it's expected. I'm not going to overreact. Again, it's day one. You're going to see these tweets, and, a lot of fans are going to overreact. But this isn't changing anything, with my vision for the season, right? I think these are going to happen. It's obvious Ben Johnson is holding everyone accountable, and this guy's intense as shit. So you love to hear that, right? This sounds like a team to where, you dial it back to Matt Eberflus, and yeah, the effort was there. They practice hard. But I think with Ben Johnson, they're going to still have that, no doubt about it, but they're actually going to be a hell of a lot more prepared. And you can just feel that, and you can envision that just with the intensity and how serious this man is.
Yep, I think you nailed it on the head. Fans will definitely be concerned. I'm not concerned just because of everything you just said, right? It's Caleb Williams' second year. So he's the quarterback trying to orchestrate all of this with Ben Johnson. And it's an entirely new offense. I don't know if anyone has watched the new quarterback documentary with Jared Goff. And there's a scene where him and his wife are going over the play calls. Go watch that scene and how hard those play calls are, how many words there are to every single play call. This is all new stuff to Caleb Williams and this entire offense. It doesn't shock me at all that there's going to be some struggles. I bet we're going to see a lot of struggles, Snyder, in training camp, because this is the time to do it. We'll talk about it in our record predictions today. I think we'll see some early season struggles. That's kind of always been my expectation because of how new this will be. And for everyone to get on the same page, there's a bunch of new players too that have never played together. That for Caleb and his receivers, right? Adding Luther Burden and Colston Loveland, that's going to take time to build those connections and just everyone feeling comfortable in a new offense. I think is going to take some time. So that's why I'm not, sorry, our guy, the Beehole Patrol says, Snyder, I love your pretzels.
No affiliation.
Yeah, no affiliation. No, I'm not worried at all about the early reports and the early struggles. I think that it's going to be par for the course. The last thing I want to touch on, Snyder, is that we got some injury updates. So it doesn't seem like Luther Burden was seen at practice. I don't think he's practicing yet. And then Braxton Jones and Colston Loveland are in the ramp-up period. They're preparing to return. So any big thoughts, any big takeaways on the injury status of the three guys we kind of knew coming into camp weren't going to be 100%?
Yeah, something to monitor, especially with Colston Loveland and Luther Burden. And it sucks because, right, we're so fired up about those picks and everything. But those are guys I am concerned to make an impact early on, right? I think that Burden in particular has already had like an upfield battle to see the field being behind DJ Moore, behind Adunze. I think Olamide Zacchaeus is going to be like good competition. So I think it's going to be, I think this is hurting him, right? Like getting the feel for the offense, building that connection with Caleb. I think it's going to hurt him, right? Because like this like chemistry and just getting this natural feel so you could like really showcase your natural instincts. It's a mind thing as well, right? So these reps not getting there, not being there, I think it's going to hurt his early on production year one. I really, really want to see him practicing. And same thing with Colston Loveland, right? When Sam Laporta was drafted, he didn't have any competition, right? He was just a surefire tight end one. Like, Scooby Wright was there, but that's not the case with Colston Loveland, right? Like Cole Kmet, say what you want about him, he's a lot more capable, right? Like he is, decent competition. So again, I think with those two, a little bit bummed out that they're not out there, and it just concerns me early on into the season.
Yeah, I definitely concerned. I think I'm more concerned with Burden in terms of like his year one impact. I think he really needed the reps within an NFL offense, doing more things than Missouri asked him to do.
Right.
So I think he needed the most development, needed the most time, and the fact that he's already starting off his time with the Bears I think he had like 2 rookie minicamp practices. It is a little bit concerning. I am concerned about Colston Loveland because tight end is a very hard position to kind of learn on the fly, right. And in the NFL, it usually takes time for these guys to really make an impact. But he was in an NFL offense at Michigan that was probably very wordy. There was a lot of verbiage. There was a lot of adjustments. Sure. So I'm not as worried about him, but definitely is concerning. And then with Braxton Jones, Ben Johnson said it yesterday. He's in a competition, right? Left tackle is a competition. He is not being handed the starting job like he has been the past 3 seasons. So, I think there's a chance he can win out still. Like I'm not counting him out, but he's behind the 8 ball, no doubt about it. He is behind the 8 ball. I could see a very realistic chance where he is not the starter, Snyder, and I'm sure missing time, before the season starts is not going to help his case.
You know what, Tom? I've seen some fans not like that, right? Like a lot of people say, look at Braxton Jones, and he has been fairly capable. But you bring up a good point, because when I seen that it's an open competition, I like the process behind that. I mean, you look at Braxton Jones, it's a good story, right? 5th round pick, you entered him as a starter, and it wasn't a total disaster, right? Like that's been a W in its own right. But to be fair, like you said, he's always been handed that started spot, right? Like he's never had some competition there. And either that's going to make him better, or that there's a chance that Adi Trapilo could be better, right? And I know Kyron's in the mix as well. I'm not ruling him out, but shit, if Adi Trapilo wins out and he proves to be better, now that's another hell of a value for that second round pick. So like I think there's reasons to be optimistic for both, right? If Brandon Jones starts out as a starter, I think that's still a good situation, right? Now you're talking about you have really good depth. You have a guy who probably going to provide you more in the run game, and he can be creative. So I mean, I think it's a good situation. I think fans should be fired up for it either way. I think there's good to come out of either situation.
Yeah, I'm really comfortable where the position's at, and I think, like you said, I think the competition's a good thing for all parties involved. It's good for Braxton, it's good for Ozzy, obviously Kieran. I think Kieran's more of a guard, but clearly they don't. So I think it's a good thing for all parties involved, and then it ultimately just leaves the Bears in a really good spot. They have depth. You know, Braxton Jones has been a solid starter, like you said, and if he's your backup, you feel really, really good about that. So, yeah, I think they're in a really good spot, and I'm really curious to see how the competition unfolds. All right, Snyder, why don't we dive into our record predictions? I will share my screen. We're using Playoff Predictor. It's a really cool website that kind of just like visualizes your predictions. You can predict the entire season. We're not going to go, we'd probably be on here for like 5 hours, Snyder, if that was the case.
Right.
So we will just do the Bears, and maybe we'll do the division one day, like one of these, next episodes coming up, and we can see if the Bears make the playoffs or not, and like what they would do in the playoffs. Maybe we can do that. But right now, we're just going to do the regular season record. And Snyder, the Bears season opener is that Monday Night Football game at Soldier Field against division rival, the Minnesota Vikings. How do you see this game unfolding?
This is a tough one, right? Like, I guess the reservation that league-wide a lot of people have with the Vikings is the uncertainty of J.J. McCarthy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here, like, his redshirt year was kind of different, right? Because he was injured, right? He wasn't practicing hard. Like, yeah, I'm sure he understands the playbook. He understands the lingo. And he's obviously spent a lot of time with Kevin O'Connell, like, just seeing how it's done. But he hasn't had, like, real reps because of the injury. So his redshirt, a little bit different than some of the other success stories, like a Jordan Love. So like I have reservations there, but at the same time, like, this is a team that just won 14 games. It's an offense that is just star-studded all across the board. Kevin O'Connell in this offense just produced Sam Darnold's 4,600-yard season, and they didn't care about that. They just let him walk because I guess they believe in J.J. McCarthy. I don't know if they miss a beat. I'm not writing off the Vikings, right? I gotta assume that the Vikings are favored in this game. And it's probably just by a couple points. Maybe I could be wrong, but oh man, I think I gotta go to the slight edge to the Vikings there.
Wow. Okay, I definitely hear you there. I think this is the more established team, and there's more continuity, even though J.J. McCarthy is making his first start overall.
Right.
But I will come back to saying I think that, like, this is like his rookie year, right? Because not only was he, like you brought it up, not only was he not starting, but he was hurt, right? So this is really his first year. He made it through a training camp and a preseason, like some of training camp and one preseason game before missing the entire season. So I hear you on all those things. I don't want to underrate the Vikings. I don't want to take them lightly. They have a great coaching staff. They have I think they have one of the best 1-2 punches in terms of offensive play caller and defensive play caller in the NFL.
Right.
But the way I rationalize this is Ben Johnson has had Brian Flores' number. I don't think the Vikings have ever beat outside of the 2021 season. I don't think they've ever beat Ben Johnson when Ben Johnson was the play caller. He has had answers for Brian Flores in every single matchup, right? I think that he has always had a really, really good game plan against Flores to really get after what they're trying to do. And also, I just think that Caleb Williams coming in, was last season not great, absolutely. But at least he has some experience to fall back on. He had success against Brian Flores' defense the first time they played him. And then also, Dennis Allen is not an easy defensive coordinator to go up in your first start in an NFL game ever, right? I think there's a lot of things that point in the Bears' direction. Hopefully they'll have things a little bit more tied down in terms of everyone understanding the offense, because it sounds like the first team was really, really struggling. I know it was only one practice, but hopefully they have more things tied down. I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt here to the Bears, Snyder. If this was Sam Darnold, like if he was coming back, I would definitely lean towards more of the Vikings. But this is J.J. McCarthy's first start of his career, and Dennis Allen is a really, really tough defensive coordinator. I think this is going to be an ugly game. I think it's going to be low scoring, but I think the Bears will ultimately prevail in week 1.
Yeah, this is a toss-up, right? So I'm not mad if that's the way you want to go. Yeah, I think it's going to be a low-scoring, close game. It's going to come down to one of the 2 last drives of the game, no doubt about it.
For sure. So are you good with me picking the Bears in this one?
Yeah, if we're that close, that's fine.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Bears. Why don't we go to the next week, which is right here. The Bears are taking on the Lions. 2 divisional games to start off the season. This will be Ben Johnson's revenge game, his first time back in Detroit after the playoff loss last year as the Bears head coach. Steiner, this one's a little bit more interesting because the Lions are obviously the way more established team. And while they did have a lot of turnover, they lost their coordinators and a lot of their coaches and some players. They're still bringing back a large chunk of the personnel that they had last year. Man, as much as optimistic as I want to be and pick the Bears here and hope that Ben Johnson can get a John Wick game this season against the Lions, I think it's really, really hard to pick the Bears in this one.
To be honest with you, man, I was reversed that, right? So
okay.
And it was because Ben Johnson knows these guys, right? He spent a lot of time with them. I think he was gonna have his like homecoming revenge type of game. And here, I know I'm just looking at paper, right? Obviously, the Lions, their skilled players, their offensive line, their team in general, they have so much chemistry together, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of their production is very, very instinctive, right? On top of it, they have damn good skilled players, like arguably some of the best in the league. Aiden Hutchinson, when healthy, he was on pace for one of the greatest, I think, defensive seasons that I've seen since really following football in like this advanced way. Like his pressure rates now, I think we're gonna break PFF's record, like in their history. That's how dominant Aiden Hutchinson was gonna be. But I do think the Bears match up really well against the Lions. I think a lot of like their skill players, like we have an answer. And I think, if you get pressure on Jared Goff, especially through the middle, which I think the Bears will, that's going to be like their strong suit. He makes mistakes, right? Like he tries to like really carry a team and like force in throws that aren't there. It always reminds me of like, if you dial it back to like the Jay Cutler Bears, right? When there was like this, he was trying to really prove it with his arm. And he's always had that issue, like dating back to the Super Bowl loss to the Patriots. And then you've seen it against the Commanders where he threw all those interceptions. So I think Jared Goff in prime time, in a big game, he is easily read. And I think Ben Johnson knows that, right? So I am just like sneaky, not writing off the Bears on this one, but I don't think the Bears are going to start out 2-0, so I don't want to go there, but I'm okay. However you want to do the first week, second week, they're them ending off 1-1.
You sound convicted, man. I'm not that convicted.
I do, man.
Yeah, you sound convicted. So I will lean towards the Bears here, but I think there's a lot of points that you brought up that I wasn't maybe considering. I think the fact that Ben Johnson knows Jared Goff also and probably knows what this Lions offense wants to be, given that they're kind of trying to not recreate, but they said they're not going to change much about what they were doing last year. I think that definitely gives the edge to the Bears. And yeah, I could definitely see the Bears matching up with them really well. The Bears have surprisingly matched up with the Lions really well, even in the Matt Eberflus era when the Bears weren't very good. They still gave the Lions trouble always. I feel like of all the divisional opponents, they gave the Lions the most trouble. They were just kind of naggy and matched up with them well. So I can be convinced, Senator, and I think you did convince me. Why don't we go optimistic here? We will take the Bears, upsetting the Lions. I would love to see the line of that game. as it stands right now. That could totally change when it gets to week 2. But we will take the Bears on the road against the Lions. Ben Johnson gets his revenge game. Why don't we keep rolling through this thing? Week 3, the Bears are at home against the Dallas Cowboys, our good friends. Maybe we'll try to get to this game because our good friends are huge Cowboys fans, and this would be a really, really good game to watch with them. But Snyder, how do you see this one shaking out?
Dude, I'm not sure, right? So the Cowboys are an interesting team for me, right? I think I love their passing attack, right? I think when Dak is healthy, he's so underrated, right? I think he is that top 5-ish, top 8-ish quarterback in the league when he's healthy. I think he's so underrated. And I like what they did with their passing attack, right? CeeDee Lamb, obviously a stud, but I think George Pickens is one of the most underrated wide receivers in the league. And I think for the first time ever in his career, he's actually with a quarterback that, again, when healthy, he should be well over 4,000 yards passing. And with the attention on CeeDee Lamb, I think he's really going to open up a deep threat. I think they wanted that with Brandon Cooks. I think George Pickens at this point in his career is the better deep threat. The only thing I'm reserved with the Cowboys is I don't know what their running attack is going to be, right? Yeah. I think it's going to be really bad, right? And I think the Cowboys are going to be in a lot of second and longs, a lot of third and longs, right? Now, again, they have the quarterback, they have the pass catchers to overcome this. And I'm very, very intrigued about their offensive line. I think it's come together really well. And then they could probably overcome that better than a lot of teams would, right? Defensive side of the ball, they have studs. Micah Parsons, I think, he just said, I think he is the best non-quarterback, just straight up football player in the NFL, right? He is an absolute game wrecker. This one's going to be a tough game time. I mean, the Bears should match up well, right? I think you could maybe wash out both of their defenses, but I think the Bears secondary matches up really well for the passing attack. I just don't know if we have the pass rush to really disturb that there. So I don't know, Tom. I am really kind of torn on this one. I can go either way. I don't know if I want to start the Bears off 3-0.
Yeah, I think honestly Dallas could get the better of the Bears here because it's so weird. Matt Eberflus kind of had Ben Johnson's number. Not really. Like the Lions did have offensive success against the Bears. That's not what I'm trying to say. But like I just mentioned, it seemed like the Lions struggled the most whenever they played against the Bears. And I think Matt Eberflus usually had a good game plan for what they wanted to do. Obviously, the Lions offense was very centered around the play action game, the run game. And if you could stop the run with lighter boxes, that really gave the Lions trouble. And I'm sure that's what the Cowboys are going to be trying to do. Now, will the Cowboys be able to do that with the Bears? Who knows? I don't think the Bears' run game is that great, and I don't think the Cowboys' run defense is that great. It's kind of the battle of mid. But if this game gets into a shootout, I favor the Cowboys. I just think Dak's the better quarterback. They'll probably have the better offense. So I'll pick the Cowboys here, Snyder. I don't want to start the Bears off 3-0 anyway either. And I think Dallas will get the upper hand. But Dallas is a huge question mark too. Like Brian Schottenheimer, that coaching staff, like I have no idea what they're going to look like. I think they're going to be like a pass-heavy team. But I don't know like how like efficient and how well, like in terms of executing, they're going to be compared to the top teams in the league. That's all I'm trying to say. But I will give the Cowboys the win here, and we will keep moving through the schedule on to week 4. The Bears play the Raiders in Las Vegas, Snyder. The Raiders are an interesting team. They add Geno. They draft Ashton Genty. They bring in Pete Carroll. They bring in Chip Kelly as their offensive coordinator. A lot has changed about this team. They're definitely going to be better than they were last year. But do you think they'll be better enough to beat the Bears in week 4?
No, I like the Bears here. Very convicted on that one. Here, I'm not saying I like what the Raiders did, but I see what the Raiders did, right? Yes. Tom Brady invests in the team, becomes part owner, and every single thing that they did this offseason was to be and win now and be a competitive team. My conspiracy is that Tom Brady really pushed for that. I think he wanted to raise the value of his investment in his stock. I mean, when the Raiders are a competitive team, it's good for the NFL, right?
It is
and I'm
good
sure
for the NFL.
It's great for the NFL. They are an historic team. Ton of history with Al Davis, John Madden. I think there's a movie coming out with, right? Christian Bale. being L. Davis. So that's going to help with, talks of the Raiders. So I think all of that is going to keep fans in the stadium and rise the stock, right? They bring in Pete Carroll. They do a really win-now move with Ashton Genty. They make an aggressive trade for Geno Smith. They're going to be a competitive team, right? I don't think it's enough, though, to really be – I think they're going to be that, 8-8, 7 – I think they're going to be – I think that's good for the NFL, right? That they're going to be competitive. They're going to be fun in some primetime games. They might sneak in a wild card, right? Maybe, right? And I think that's good for the Raiders. I think that's good for the year-one returns for what Tom Brady wanted and what that organization wants. And just to turn around the culture. I don't see it with their secondary. I don't see it with their pass-catching unit. Love Bowers, don't get me wrong. But I just don't see them being a real threat to a lot of teams in the league. So I am not sold on the Raiders. Again, this is going to be like a scrappy team, no doubt about it. But I have the Bears here.
Senator, I'm glad you brought up their secondary. Just their back seven, I think, is worth pointing out. Okay,
it's bad.
So their starting corners are Darian Porter, a third-round rookie, Eric Stokes, signed for a veteran minimum deal, couldn't start in Green Bay. Darnay Holmes signed for a veteran minimum deal, special teamer with the Giants. And then their starting safety is Jeremy Chin, who was, I think, again, brought on like a 2-year very minimum deal, and Isaiah Palomalu. And then their starting linebackers are Jermaine Pratt and Landon Roberts. So this is just a really questionable group. I mean, it could be the worst secondary in the NFL center. I'm not gonna try to sugarcoat this thing. And I just think that when you're going up against a good offensive mind like Ben Johnson, unless Caleb Williams is absolutely terrible in this game, or the offensive line just can't block Max Crosby, I just think that's such a mismatch for Ben Johnson, who finds matchups, picks on the weak links. I think it's just going to be too much for the Raiders to handle. And I do really like the Raiders offense. If the Raiders can establish the run and really get that run game going with Chip Kelly and everything that he's able to do, this could be a really tough matchup for the Bears. I'm not going to sit here and deny it. The Bears want to play with lighter boxes. That's how Dennis Allen wants to play. And if they can't stop the run that way, it could be a very, very long game for the Bears. But I just think that their secondary is too much of a question mark. And the Raiders offense is not built to be a shootout type of offense. This is a ball control move that progressively move the sticks. So I'm going to take the Bears here. I know we're sounding like major homers. I know we are. But it's just how the way I see it. And it seems the way Snyder sees it as well. So we will start off the Bears 3-1 through 4 weeks. Let's move on to week 5, where the Bears – is this the Bears bye week? I think this is the Bears bye week.
Bears have a bye week 5, so the next game is week 6 against Washington. I'll say this football team. I don't know what their name's going to be.
So it's funny that the Bears bye week is this early. If they started off the season 3-1 Snyder at the bye, I mean, we would be absolutely ecstatic, right? That would be incredible. We would have very, very high expectations. Okay, why don't we get to this game? Yes, the Bears will be playing the Washington football team in Washington on Monday Night Football. The Bears will be coming off a bye. The football team will not be coming off a bye. So I don't know, Senator, how do you see this one? This is one that Bears fans really, really want the Bears to win because it seems like there's kind of a hidden rivalry given that Jaden Daniels was drafted right after Caleb Williams, and the Commanders fans are kind of dunking on all the fan bases that doubted Jaden Daniels. So how do you see this one turning out?
Yeah, I don't – here, if we're 3-1 after the bye and we have that bye to fully prepare for the Washington team and – you're like, hey, this is Ben Johnson. He's going to come super prepared. Let's see how he is off a bye week. I think a lot of fans are going to convince themselves that the Bears could take this home. And I'm not writing them off. I just don't see it, Tom. I do think the Commanders are the better football team. I just think Jaden Daniels is a total stud. I think this is a debate, Tom, that we might have for another episode. Just talking about these rookie quarterbacks or from last year's class. I'm not overlooking Jaden Daniels at all. He is a hell of a quarterback. The way he grew from college into year one, and how this man is just his deep accuracy, his accuracy just in general is just nasty, right? He could put the ball wherever he wants. He's super composed. I think Cliff returning with the Commanders was absolutely huge for Jaden Daniels, right? Typically, you see that type of offense. You see the offense coordinator getting a head coaching gig. I think retaining him was huge, right? How it's been for Jared Goff when they were retaining Ben Johnson. I don't think the Commanders miss a beat. I actually think they get better from an offensive production. And I don't think the Bears have enough juice, just as yet.
Yeah, those are all fair points. I definitely think the Commanders should be favorited. I don't really see it the same way. I don't have any good reasons to not pick the Bears because I do think the Commanders are going to experience some regression. I think they just they didn't get extremely, I don't want to just blame their season on luck, that they had such a successful season because how lucky they got. But I think they were definitely playing above their heads and their roster wasn't as good as they were playing. And they happened to get the best seasons from a lot of the veteran journeymen that
Sure.
I don't think it's going to happen 2 years in a row. And I just think their fourth down luck, some of the touchdowns they scored were very improbable plays that will regress to some extent. I don't think they're going to be a bad team. And I think they'll still make the playoffs, still compete for the division. But I don't think this roster is overly talented. Their defense is not good to me. I still think that they have major issues. Dan Quinn did a really good job adjusting and kind of morphing that defense to hide some of its weaknesses. But I think the Bears offense, if it does pick up the pace at this time, I think that's it has the potential to be a really big mismatch in my opinion, because who do the Commanders have in terms of a pass rush? This is not a good defensive line. I just think that's a really weak defense. And I think the Bears defense has more potential with Dennis Allen, what he's able to do. But the Commanders offense you're right. It's no joke. They definitely got better on that side of the ball. So I will pick the Commanders here solely as I just don't see the Bears starting off the season 4-1. So I will pick the Commanders here and we can move on to the next one. Unless, Snyder, do you have any
No. I'm with you. I guess and again, it's going to sound just a little bit biased, but when you look at this schedule, there's not really a lot of teams that you're saying, no, the Bears have no chance. The Bears, again, on paper, it looks like they can hang with any team, and this can really go either way. Here, as great as the Commanders of a season they had the year prior, the Bears almost beat them, right? And again, You can only almost this, what if that. I don't like playing that game, but it was super competitive last time, right? And like you said, the Commanders, some of their guys may have peaked, right? They may not have similar production. So that's reasons to be optimistic, right? Again, I know what the outcome was, but there's a reasons to not write the Bears off there. They're competitive in a very, bad season last year. I know that's not how it works, right? NFL is different week in and week out. There's no consistency. That's just how football is. But again, I think this could be a scrappy game, a competitive game. And I think it's going to be a fun one. That Monday night matchup, I think for the NFL and NFL fan, that's going to be a fun one to watch.
100%. So many narratives go in that game. Ben Johnson was almost hired by the Commanders. He ends up waiting, and he goes to the Bears. Obviously, the Bears took Caleb Williams over Jaden Daniels. So, there's a ton of narratives, and it's going to be a really, really fun game. What happened last year, the Hail Mary, Tyreek Stevenson play, there's just going to be so much to talk about with that game. That's one of the most exciting ones I'm looking for, and I hope the Bears can win that one. I'm not going to be that optimistic that they're going to start the season 4-1. So I will give them the L there. Why don't we keep rolling through this thing? In week 7, the Bears play the Saints. Snyder, I don't think there's much discussion here. I think the Saints are going to be picked number 1 overall, and the Bears will roll past this one pretty easily.
Yeah, that one we don't have to cover too much, Tom. That one's going to be should be an easy dub there.
Yeah, for sure. All right, week 8, the Bears play the Ravens in Baltimore. As much as I hope this game is competitive, and I think it could be, no doubt about it. If the Bears can be what we think they are, and during this time of the season too, we're hoping that the offense definitely has more continuity, has a better feel. I think the Bears can be competitive in this game, but it's asking a lot to beat Lamar Jackson in Baltimore when things are as new as they are with this Bears team.
Yeah, I am not going to debate against you, Tom. I don't think the Bears come away with this one. The Ravens just keep getting better and better. Mm-hmm. They're a well-ran organization. I think Derrick Henry's going to keep running down teams' throats. And Lamar Jackson, again, I I can't say he's underrated, Tom, but I think he's underrated as an actual quarterback, right? Like, I think he's so efficient. He's insanely efficient in the red zone, and he doesn't get enough credit for his IQ and his efficiency. A lot of people talk about his legs, and again, he's not making like these insane throws, right? He's not Aaron Rodgers with it or Patrick Mahomes like with the football deep, but he still is capable, and he just plays the quarterback position really, really, really well. And I think that's always been overlooked without his career, and I just wanted to give him some props there. I've always been a big Lamar Jackson fan in that aspect.
I think he's the hardest quarterback to defend in the NFL.
Thank you. Yeah,
it's going to be. I don't think the Bears have the horses on deep. Like if you look at the teams that gave him trouble last year, they did not look like the Bears, right? I think the Bears are still like a defensive line, a true game-wrecking defensive line away from being able to kind of contain Lamar or give him trouble. So we'll pick the Ravens there. The next week, this will be an interesting game. The Bears will be at Cincinnati to face Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and the Bengals. I mean, the Bengals are like the talk of the NFL right now because of how they're operating as a team. Their two best edge rushers are still holding out. Their first-round pick might go back to college. Like, that's a possibility because of the contractual differences that they have. Trey Hendrickson is currently holding out as well. I mean, the Bengals offense is as high-powered as it gets in the NFL. Like, they can play in any game script, come back from any deficit. It's just their defense is terrible. And I know they brought in a new defensive coordinator. I know they brought in some new guys on defense, and they're expecting some guys to get better. But, like, I don't have any reasons to believe this Bengals defense is going to be that much better than it was last year. So if the Bears defense can give the Bengals offense a little bit of trouble, I think the Bears offense will have a ton of success against this Bengals defense.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting, right? Because their defense is bad. And again, I know we do a Bears podcast. I could make a whole episode talking about how I cannot stand the Bengals organization, especially the owner, the comments that he just made. How you see a guy like TJ Watt getting that deal, and you see Trey Hendrickson, who's been more productive, same age, and they're not. But I could rant on, and it's a shame, right? When you have arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, the best wide receiver, and I could make a whole episode how Jamar Chase, how special he is, and how he is just to me the clear-cut best wide receiver in the NFL. I can talk all day about that, right? And it's a shame that they're being held back by their organization, right? Because they could be that consistent Super Bowl team, right? Like if they ran like how the Eagles were, like just super aggressive. And this would be a week that, no, the Bears have no chance. But it's a damn shame that their ownership, whatever you want to do it, that they have this talent and they're holding that talent back to where you go into this week and you look at all these question marks for the Bengals and, hey, the Bears have a shot, right? Like the Bears could actually give this team problems. And it's a damn shame to say that. Again, not trying to dismiss the Bears, but this should be a dominant team that teams week in and week out are scared to play, like the Eagles, right? Like the Chiefs. And because of this turmoil and because of this organization, they're not that team. And it's a damn shame. So, the Bears absolutely have a fighting chance here.
I kind of want to lean the Bears. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I won't because the Bengals lost a bunch of one-score games last year. I'm sure that's going to regress some. Like, I feel like everything that could go wrong for the Bengals went wrong last year, and like good offenses prevail. I know their defense could be a big issue in the playoffs against the best teams. So maybe we should go Cincy here just to give the benefit of the doubt, like of the Bears. Yeah. I want to hedge a bit, right? Q said, I'll show the comment. Q said not hedging any bets. Give me 11 wins, 11 plus wins. I'm ready to hurt. I'm going to hedge a little bit here because I think that this is still year one of Ben Johnson. Like, I don't want to get ahead of my skis. I feel like we do that every single year, and I want to slow down just a bit. So why don't we give the Bengals the dub? Let's say it's a shootout. Caleb has a great game, and we're still optimistic. Let's say this is where we really believe in Caleb Williams. This is the game. I'll say that. But they end up losing in a one-score game. We'll keep rolling through this thing, Steiner. We might have to cut it short and finish on another episode. Maybe we can go live on Tuesday next week and finish. And maybe we'll see if the Bears make the playoffs. We can do like the division as well.
I think we can speed this up. I think some of these ones we don't need to double cover it, Tom. Because again, you're getting your division matchups again.
True.
I think we can roll through it, Tom. Here next week against the Giants. The next week against
like
the
Bears.
Giants. I think that one you don't have to debate too much. I think their quarterback is uncertain. I think the roster is really uncertain. I think the Bears easily take that one.
Yeah, I think so my picks to pick number 1 overall are the Giants, the Saints, and the Browns. So I think all those teams are going to be really bad.
Yeah.
Why don't we keep – all right, we should probably give the Vikings the win here, right? Like I think the Vikings will get one on. Hopefully the Bears can put up – I think the Bears match up really well with the Vikings, honestly. But I don't think the Bears will take both those games. I'd be really surprised if that was the case.
And then here, Tom, we got next week. That would be – against the Steelers, right? At home, I don't see it with the Steelers, right?
I don't either.
You see Aaron Rodgers. I think he had a solid season last year, but this has been the same formula for the Steelers, and it really hasn't gotten them anywhere, right? It's hard to overlook a Mike Tomlin coach team. Like, they're going to be competitive, right? They're going to be scrappy. I just don't see it, right? Like, you got DK Metcalf, who, again, I like, right? He's a hell of a football player. But his game was never going to age like fine wine, right? And I think you've seen that last year, right? With a good quarterback in Geno Smith. So, like, I don't know at the time. I don't see it with the Steelers. I think the Bears take that one.
I'm going to go a step further, Snyder. I think Aaron Rodgers has been bad. And people, you look at his accumulative numbers and you're like, okay, he's doing pretty well. Like, he's obviously not what he once was. But I think – if you just look at the overall efficiency, he's been a far cry from what he was. And I think a lot of that comes back to he is playing so fast to not get hit at this age that he's not willing to hang in and extend and make the special plays he once was able to do earlier in his career. And when you're looking, like you said, at the Steelers' offensive situation, this is not a good offensive line. They have one legitimate pass-catching weapon. So I think in order for Aaron Rodgers to work, he'd have to be dropped into like an elite offense. And that's just flat out not the case with Arthur Smith and the Steelers offense. Yeah, their defense is really good, but I think the Bears have a huge coaching advantage in this one and just the better overall team. And if this was Aaron Rodgers of old, I'd be a lot more scared, but it's not. So I'm going to go ahead and pick the Bears here. We'll keep rolling through. The Bears play the Eagles in Philly on Friday night. I think is this the Brazil game? I don't know if this is the Brazil game. I don't think so. This is the Black Friday game, I think. I will go ahead and pick the Eagles, Snyder. I'm going to roll with the defending Super Bowl champions here.
No debate for this one, Tom. Again, Eagles are an absolute force. Best organization in football, hands down.
I'd say the best organization in sports, to be honest.
That is a good take. Absolutely. So, not going to debate there. As we have it right now, Tom, the Bears are 6-6 going into Week 14 against the Green Bay Packers.
I'm gonna take the Bears here. I think the Bears have a better roster, and if the coaching can level out, the Bears had been in close games with the Packers for, I think, most of the last 2 years, and they always just shit the bed and like never made the right decisions from a coaching perspective in a lot of ways. Like even with Fields, even in those situations, like I never thought the Packers like drastically outplayed the Bears in a lot of those games. They were always really close, and I think that's going to change this time around. And I just don't think the Packers got that much better on paper and like the level of like ceiling raising talent to like drastically change my mind, where I think there's an outcome that is true for the Bears. Like, I think there's an outcome that Caleb Williams plays better than Jordan Love, and I will take the Bears here on the road in Lambeau Field to beat the Packers.
I love it. I'm with you there, Tom. I like that when you look at this division, right, it's competitive as hell, right? But the reason you can actually talk yourself into Bears fans, and I'm behind it, all bias aside, we could potentially have the best coach in the division, and we could have the best quarterback in the division, right? He's easily the most talented. Obviously, it's a work in progress.
I would say, too, we could – I mean, Flores is really good, but we could have the best defensive coordinator in the division, too. Like, Dennis Allen is no joke.
Yeah, so that's the thing, like, with the Bears that you could talk yourself into, and I could see it being a reality, Tom. I think that, again, what you said, when we played the Packers, we played them hard, right? There's so many bad coaching decisions, like lack of preparation. You've seen it with the offensive line. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think this division is in for a rude awakening. Is going to see something from the Bears that they haven't seen in a very, very long time, if ever. Yeah, I am convicted on the Bears on this one.
Okay. I'm glad that we see it the same way against the division foe, the Green Bay Packers. The Bears play the Browns in Chicago Center. I'm thinking the Bears take this one.
Yeah, I like Kevin Stefanski as a coach. I think he is going to have a scrappy team. I just don't see it with the roster. I don't see it with the quarterback position. Oh, yeah, I will take the Bears here as well.
All right, Week 16, the Bears play the Packers at home. Snyder, I think the Bears are going to sweep the Packers. That's something I'm putting my foot on, and I think the Bears are going to sweep the Packers this year.
That's a hot take. Here, Q says Caleb stays undefeated at Lambeau. I love it. How do you love the sweep of the season of the Packers?
I think it's very, very much in the realm of possibilities. Ben Johnson has had the Packers numbered, and like we just mentioned, the Bears have always played the Packers in the recent years. Like this version of the Bears, a lot of the same players have always played the Packers close. So I don't know. I just don't see the Packers are a good team. They're a solid team. Don't get me wrong. But I just don't see a scary team. This is not the Packers of old. This is not the Aaron Rodgers. I don't have the same fear in the Packers that I once did because I just think that they're lacking in a lot of the star power areas, like the players I should be scared of. I don't think they have many of those guys. They've lost a lot of those guys, to be honest. And I think the Bears on offense at least have those type of players that can put them in a position to sweep them this season.
Yeah, I like it, Tom. I like the hot take, but I like the logic behind it. I'm all for that, Tom. So as we speak, the Bears are 9-6, right? 2 games left in the regular season. Next is San Francisco, and they close it with the Lions. Tom, a lot of fans, the safe answer, if you ask them, hey, what's the Bears record going to be this season? I think majority of people are going to tell you, hey, they're an 8-9 win team, right? But you always say 9 is the safe answer. Where are we going with this, Tom?
That's what we're going to find out, buddy. We're going to close it out. The Bears will be at the Niners. Man, the Niners are such a weird team. I definitely see them can get back to a lot more success than they had last year. They brought in Robert Saleh back to be their defensive coordinator, but they also have a bunch of question marks on offense with the receivers, and their defense is not what it once was. I think this is a really even matchup if Caleb can take those next steps and become the quarterback we think he is. I don't know, Senator, maybe we lean the Niners here because the Niners, I think, have had the Bears number whenever they played in the recent years. And, Kyle Shanahan's no joke. I don't know. I think I'm leading the Niners here.
That's a tough one, right? I think they've lost some players. They've really had to condense down their talent because they've been a little bit more strapped with the money. They just paid Brock Purdy. I know he took a discount, but it's still expensive, right? 10 times more expensive than what he's been. And it's had an effect on the roster, Tom. So, again, it's hard to overlook Kyle Shanahan. He is a hell of a coach. I actually think their GM has been so average, right? He obviously had some late round hits. I mean, you hit on Brock Purdy, you're going to look a lot better than you are. You're going to get tons of credit there. That's going to overshadow. I mean, just look at their draft history, though, man.
It's rough. It's rough.
It's really rough. But Kyle Shanahan deserves more credit of grooming Brock Purdy, turning him into everything that he's become. That John Lynch gets for drafting him with the last pick, right? So, again, it's so hard to overlook Kyle Shanahan. But, man, I don't know how their roster is going to hold up with Brock Purdy getting paid, Tom. So, that's why I have my reservations there. Obviously, Kyle Shanahan's an amazing coach, amazing play caller, play designer. I'm just interested to see. I mean, they lost a lot of, their yak guys with the wide receiver, kind of a different offense. So, yeah, I don't know, Tom. I am torn on this one, but I'm not mad if you lean towards the 49ers.
Yeah, I just think the Niners are going to be better this year because, again, kind of like the Bengals, everything broke poorly for them. They were extremely banged up. They lost their best players. I know they still have some question marks now, but, Brandon Ayuk could be back at this point. And I just think that their offense is going to bounce back. Their defense is definitely a question mark. I think Saleh coming in will definitely raise the floor of what they were last year. But they're so reliant on a 4-down front, and outside of Bryce Bosa and Bryce Huff, if either of one of those guys goes down, I think their defense is in real trouble. So Yeah, I mean, I think health will be a very, very big part of this game, given how both teams want to play. And we'll see, when the season comes. I'll lean the Niners here because I'm a hedging fool. All right, last game of the season. The Bears are at home against the Lions. Snyder, do we be bold here? Because I kind of like the Bears in this one. I think this is a Jared Goff cold weather game. This is really another Ben Johnson revenge game. I kind of like the Bears here to take them to win this game.
Wow. So this is bold. So you're saying that the Bears sweep the Packers and sweep the division reigning champs in the Lions? That's bold, but I like it. I mean, this puts the Bears at 10-7. This is a game that it could have a lot of implications. Playoff seeding. Maybe it could be for the division. I don't know, Tom, but here, I like it. I mean, here, at this point, this is where you're optimistic, right? That Ben Johnson has a groove. Caleb is the man. Like it could be such a different Bears team and such a different chatter. Like this could be really something here, Tom. And I like it. Bears 10-7. Maybe this is for the division. I don't know, but here, Bears at home, close it out, heading into the playoffs. It's going to be absolutely electric.
100%. And maybe the Lions get that week 1 or that week 2 game. Like I wasn't as sold on that as you. So like, I just think the Bears are in a really, really good spot to win this game because hopefully their offense is on track. Their defense has their communication down. And week 18, like this is, the epitome of your season and everything has come together that we thought we were. Like this is the end point of a linear progression curve. And if the Bears can be the team we think they can be, I see no reason why they can't win this game from a talent perspective. They're a really, really even team. It's just a lot rides on Caleb, a lot rides on the defense, how they're able to generate a pass rush. So why don't we be bold here? We will pick the Bears to win this game. That leaves the Bears off with a 10-7 record. I'm sure they would make the playoffs in this scenario. Man, this is really, really optimistic. And I hate doing this because it usually always backfires with the Bears. But this is as optimistic as we've ever been about a Bears team. So I don't know. I'm not mad at it, Snyder. I do have to run out of here. So we can talk about more about how we think the season will go just on another episode. But is there anything else you want to add quickly before we get out of here?
No, I like it. That's my answer. It's 10-7. I think 9's a little bit too safe. I think 8's a little bit negative. 11's bold. Anything higher than that, I think it's a little bit. You're drinking the juice a little bit. So
yeah,
I think 10 is that sweet spot where I've been at all off season. So I'm happy that's where we ended up there, Tom.
For sure. Most definitely. All right, y'all. Well, we will be back hopefully on Tuesday with another episode. But thank you for joining. Thank you all for leaving your comments and whatnot and interacting. We definitely appreciate it. You can find us on YouTube at On Tap Sports, or you can also find us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify at the Bears Blog Boys. But again, appreciate y'all and keep it real. Bear down.
Bear down.